Welcome into Pick Six. I'm your host, Tatum Everett, alongside voice of the Vikings, Paul Allen, who's going to answer your fan questions. Of course, this is presented by KFAN, so why don't we make it a fan segment? So we called out to Twitter, asked for your best questions, but before we get to those, this week, ESPN's Kevin Seifert wrote about the biggest, or his biggest, off-season surprise standout. He wrote that it was Brian Asamoah.
Right.
Who would you take? And don't forget, you got 30 seconds on the clock.
Right. What do you think I am, Gabe? Well, with Brian Asamoah, Kevin Seifert used to cover the team for the Star Tribune, and he's high end for ESPN, and he's connected. He knows what to look for. So I'm not one to fly in the face of what he says. That Asamoah is a physical specimen. I'm just trying to figure out what they're going to do with him defensively. I think he's strictly special teams. For me, it would be wide receiver Jalen Nailor. And with where he was taken as deep in the draft, and then what I saw at rookie camp and a little bit at mini camp, man, Jalen's tough, and he's going to make the team, and I think he's going to contribute.
Yeah, it would be great to see those draft picks start to make early impacts. I'm actually going to pick a free agent on this one. I've got Harrison Phillips because I think that he made himself very clearly put himself very clearly in a leadership role early on. And so for me, someone that comes in, Michael Pierce is out, Dalvin Tomlinson's still in, you've got Harrison Phillips there trying to anchor that line. I think coming in as a veteran, making an impact early on, making yourself known, not to mention, the guy just got to town and he did about 40 some odd community events. So, he's a man of his word. He's out there in the community making a difference. Hope he can make a huge difference this year on this team.
And with Harrison Phillips, the bond and the relationship that he already has established with Dalvin Tomlinson.
Yes.
It's one of those things that grows, and then you hear about it when teams are really good. Like, hey, everybody know how close Harrison and Dalvin are? that started right when Harrison got here.
Yeah, great to hear. Well, we'd love to hear from you guys' fan questions. So we'll go with number 2. Nate Farah asks, who will be the starting right guard this year?
Well, that's an excellent question. And in the land of 10,000 question marks with the Minnesota Moving Company, the offensive line, seemingly every single year, it seems like things have stabilized in most, if not all, of the spots, except for right guard. Now, they draft Ed Ingram. And with Ed, the intel I have on him is that he's really come charging late at the end of minicamp. So big training camp for Ed. Jesse has done it. And, I'd bet that Jesse is the starter for the Green Bay Packers game. And I think rolling into it with veterans is the right way to go early.
And speaking of veterans, he started 26 games at right guard for the Dolphins. So he does come in with that veteran experience, as you mentioned. Excited to see that battle at camp.
Me too.
Which takes me to our question number 3. It's from Robert. He says, besides the battle for right guard, what position battle looks the most interesting?
Oh, wow. They're firing in the offseason here, aren't they? Holy cow.
You wasted 3 seconds.
I'd say cornerback between Andrew Booth Jr. and Cam Dantzler, and a Caleb Evans has the puncher's chance on the outside. Now, Cam's heading into his 3rd year, so you would believe that this would be something he would grab by the horns. Booth Jr. is really, really talented and really smart. So I think that's going to be something ballyhooed all training camp. I think the rookie wins it.
I think the cornerback position is probably the most watched position battle outside of the right guard. I think you nailed that one, definitely. I know you wanted to mention running back a little bit between Madison, Ty Chandler, and Kane.
Yeah.
But
well, it's Alex's money. Because it's when you look at being a veteran compared to Kane Wong-Wu into a 2nd year, and the speedy North Carolina kid Ty Chandler by way of Tennessee. He's very fast, and they don't draft him if they don't have plans to use him in some capability. But with that said, Madison would be prohibitively favored, but everything is new. So Alex doesn't roll in and go like, oh, I know that play, I know that, I love that. It's all new, and Kane's fast. So if Kane can catch it, then I'm telling you, if he can catch passes, then he could usurp Alexander and have cut time.
We just did a pick 6.5. How'd you like that?
Absolutely
no,
loved it.
We'll keep rolling.
But I went past 30 seconds.
No, you're good. You're good.
Ruined my 4th of July weekend.
We've got the next question from Jason. He asks, with Kevin O'Connell implementing a new offensive scheme, do you think we'll see a lot more 3 wide receiver sets?
Well, we've seen a lot of 3 wide receiver sets from Gary Kubiak through Kevin Stefanski through Clint Kubiak. Now, with the addition of Irv Smith Jr., I'm more thinking 3, but what about 4 with Dalvin as the single set? Because Irv out of the slot, man, he can do some damage if you got a bad matchup on him. KJ Osborne jumped out of his skin last year, big year for KJ. Then you got JJ and Adam Thielen Jr. AT19, Adam Thielen. Maybe one of his sons, because he's so good he'll jump up and do
is
it.
Asher getting into the game to play?
We already run a lot of 3 receiver sets. So again, this is going to develop, and we will learn a lot in training camp what it looks like, and I'm super excited.
I know, only a couple of weeks away. Let's get to the 5th question from Dave R. Not including Dalvin catching passes out of the backfield, who breaks out as the 3rd option besides Thielen and JJ?
Well, it's KJ. I mean, I love KJ Osborne. He was one of those receivers, along with Justin Jefferson, who was taken in the 2020 draft, which is the greatest wide receiver draft in the history of the NFL. I mean, the way the fruit that it's bearing, and with T. Higgins and Chase Claypool, all the way to Darnell Mooney, and KJ's in there. KJ was a bailout guy in a lot of situations for Kirk Cousins last year. So KJ heads into it as the 3rd. Naylor, I think, is going to get some time, but KJ Osborne, yeah, breakout. If that's how you want to look at it, then I think he'll improve.
I think you also have to keep your eye on BC Johnson, who had a great training camp last year, and KJ getting the opportunity to break out as a 3rd star because BC had his injury.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because Kirk effusively praises BC Johnson. And, you know, there's the nuance to the tells that you look for to see, like, who's going to make the team and why. But the question is, how many wide receivers are they going to keep?
It's a good question. There are 12 on the roster right now.
Right. Well, Emir Smith-Marset, what are you going to do with him? I mean, Emir Smith-Marset got good last year. So I guess it's the cliched good problem to have.
Yeah, I took the words right out of my mouth. It's a good problem to have. Well, we're going to end on this note. We hope you guys have a wonderful 4th of July. So I wanted to ask you, PA, what is your favorite 4th of July tradition?
Well, my kids and I, Nicole and Derek now 21, Nicole 19, they both are out of the nest. So hopefully the tradition continues. But we have our own hot dog eating contest, and we try to get good at it. And we have a timer with it, and we have water, got the buns on the side, and then you just get the hot dogs going without the buns, get the buns wet. And my son Derek wins every single year.
Okay.
That's okay. We're not betting on it.
How many?
But I guess that would be it.
What is the record?
That's a personal question. I can't answer that on
Okay. Well, I didn't realize that you guys were, good old Joey Chestnuts over there.
Yeah, well, that's one way to look at it. But we, the chestnuts of the hot dogs roasting over an open fire that is a rite of summer for the Allens. But for football teams, that, for the players, when they go to bed the 4th of July, they wake up July 5th and it's, all right, let's go get ready. Let's get that body ready. Let's stop eating all these hot dogs and get ready for training camp.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, PA.
Thank you.
Well, this has been a fun Pick 6.
Yep.
We'll have to do another one next week. If you want to get your questions in, be sure to tweet at us at Tatum Everett, at PA on the mic when we call for questions. And maybe your question will end up next time on Pick 6.